Yes. All right. Welcome to the Creative Imposter Creativity and Media as Resistance series. I am here with, wait, let me click go live on Instagram first. It always takes a minute. Instagram has a slight delay, y'all. Welcome to the world of streaming behind the scenes. All right. Yay. Instagram is playing nicely with us. I love it. I'm here with Leigh Cambre, who is streaming to us from New York City. Yeah.
New York City, Hell's Kitchen.
All right. So we got New York and Chicago, the duel between the two. New York in the
Uh-huh.
second city, right? Is that what it
Yeah,
is?
absolutely. Yeah, bring it. Let's do it. Okay. I'm glad you
Urban
know.
dueling, right?
That's
Yeah.
right. Oh my
I do
gosh, but
love New
you win
York.
the I know, but I've been to Chicago 3 or 4 times in the summer, and for me, Chicago wins. Every time I go there, it's cleaner,
Aw.
it's spacious, it's
Aw.
beautiful, it's cleaner, and it's cleaner. Did I say that? It's so much
Yes.
cleaner.
It's only because we have alleys for our trash. That's really
Yes.
why.
I
I
tell people I want New York to burn down so that we can have alleys as well.
I this is the last thing I'll say about Chicago, in our little love letter to Chicago is that I know somebody who just moved here about a year ago from Philly, and she was like, "Can I tell you what I love about Chicago?" And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "The width of the sidewalks."
Yes.
I was like,
Yes.
wow. On my list of things to say about Chicago, it never occurred to me that width of sidewalk was like a perk.
Oh, you learn when you live in New York City and the brownstones exit onto the street
Yeah.
and there's someone coming at you and one of you has to move. So you have to walk onto the street. So, yes, wide sidewalks, just glorious.
Chef's kiss.
Glorious. Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you for that. And this is not a podcast about Chicago and New York and urban planning and sidewalks. This is a podcast about creative leadership. And this is a series about using creativity and media as resistance. And Leigh, I brought you on here because we met through our common friend, Lauren Ramsey. And
Yes.
um, I love your energy. I love what you stand for. I love what you post on social. Social media is one of those places lately where it is either a major hellscape, and I'm like, why am I here? What am I doing? Put the phone down, get off the social media. But there are those few accounts that when I see a post from those accounts, it makes me smile. It feels lighter. I feel unburdened. And you are one of
Oh,
those accounts. So thank you for your
oh,
Instagram.
oh my gosh. Thank you. That is really sweet to say. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And it really it's what I want.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the world I
awesome.
live in.
Okay, so tell us more about the world that you live in. What is it that you are doing in the world right now? And besides just having like a really great energy and being friends with my friend, why do you think I invited you to talk about creativity and media as resistance?
Oh my God, that is so sweet. So, what I do, what I have been living for is being creative and living my own life, especially as an entrepreneur. I am someone that has never wanted to be pinned down, and I want to have a good time, and I want to make a lot of choices and have the freedom to make a lot of choices. And so for me, the tie-in and what I was modeled by my mom and kind of my dad in a way, my dad being a pastor and my mom being an entrepreneur, is that if you want like real freedom, you're going to have to work hard to make your own career. And so
Mm,
that has always been some version of what I've been doing in my life. It's never been, I literally have never done a 9 to 5 in my life. And for the first time in my life since the pandemic happened, I chose to work my version of 9 to 5, which is 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., which I love. It still is up to me. And I can still decide to end it early because I'm my own boss. So it's lovely to create my own existence and way of having access and power. And when I say access and power, I mean money. And so I to call myself, having said all of that, a small business coach. And my niche is working with LGBTQ and women entrepreneurs who have employees in their second to 10th year of business. That's very specific, but those are my people. I love them. And I serve people outside of that. It's really a game of marketing. But that is one of the things I do. And then kind of for fun, but it still is professional, is studying personality for a living, how we each perform. And my tool of choice is called Enneagram. And I could talk for hours about all of those things, but I want to stay on topic. So as we talk, I'm going to have more to say.
And we are definitely going to sneak into some Enneagram because I like it. That's why.
Great. Yes. Oh, I was
I don't know if it's on topic or not, but I like it. So
perfect.
It's my show. We could do what we
want.
I
guarantee you it's on topic, and I will connect the dots.
Fabulous. How did you arrive at the niche, the very specific niche that you described as women and LGBTQ plus with employees in their what years of business?
Second to 10th year of business.
How did you arrive at this niche?
It was literally I'm a life coach starting in 2011. And then in 2022, I had a couple of clients say, "Oh, you're my business coach." And I was like, "What? Huh? I'm your life coach." Wait a minute. And it's because I started a staffing company in 2013. And then at that moment, I was like, wait a minute. They're starting to ask me about all of the parts of my business. Oh, okay. I'm a business coach and I still have the life parts that are a part of it. And that led me to sell my company. Let's see, it's 13 months ago at this point. So where I'm only focusing on the coaching and I'm not doing the staffing company anymore. I've sold it. I'm now completely separated from the staffing company. Surprise. Now this is the niche of, okay, now that I'm free and I'm only doing the coaching, who do I want to serve? And the answer became, oh my God, this is who I'm serving, is LGBTQ and women entrepreneurs with employees in their second to 10th year of business. That is my clientele. That's already who I'm serving. And I speak very specifically to them because part of it is I relate. I get their worlds and backgrounds. And I also, my heart shines for this group because it is isolating to be a leader. It is isolating to be a business owner because you are one and only, and there's no others that are even peers oftentimes. And I felt that when I had my company. And so I am very passionate about that crew in that position. And my clients already reflect that. So there we are.
So here we are in the United States with probably the worst political administration that I have ever lived through in my existence, at least that I'm old enough to remember. And I say worst, I mean, I think it's objectively worse.
I hear you.
I think it's objectively worse. However, I say worst because in alignment with my values, everything that's happening is out of alignment with my values and out of alignment with what I think is important. And the world that I want to inhabit, the world that I want to create, the world that I want to facilitate. And I think that specifically for your demographic, there are some specific challenges, and God, everything that I say sounds like I'm sugarcoating things. There are some specific challenges. Like does that even really describe what is the reality of what is actually happening right now in our country?
I mean, kind of. I am going to say yes, because to me, it is important that all voices are heard. Part of what the American idea is founded on is freedom of speech. And for everyone to have a voice, whether they're in agreement with your and my values or not, is valuable for us to consider and then decide no. And so the thing that's beautiful about our system is that we are allowed to say it. The beautiful thing about our system is that people who have felt not heard are feeling very heard right now. Had the last election gone the way I wanted it to, I think there would have been an insane revolt by the people that did not get their way, or
Mm.
that, I mean, that did get their way now. There is a little bit for me, a little bit. Mostly, I feel I mean, I guess, I could say personally for me, I feel very similar to you, but I have a lot of compassion for people that don't, that are in the place of finally I'm being heard, for
Mm.
the place of the ideas that they have, I don't understand, because I feel that way about them. I don't understand your point of view. And that part of that is the itch wasn't getting scratched for them. And I will say 2015, when gay marriage happened in our country due to Obergefell, I might be mispronouncing it, I felt incredibly seen. And then there was an era of like, oh, this is my era kind of thing. And so for
Mhm.
them to have an opportunity to be seen, as much as I literally nauseated by so much of what's going on, I think it's an important aspect of things of that should be going on. You know, it is it's like a necessary evil. The pendulum needs to swing. Otherwise, we're stuck in just one system, and then there's no experimentation and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's not a defense of what's going on, but it is a way for me. This is Leigh's world of going, that's what's going on for
Mhm.
me. Okay. And then I move on. It's hard.
It's a no, it's a challenging position, and I wish that I'm so bad with attribution, because I remember things, they pop into my head in conversation, and I'm like, I heard a thing, but I don't know where I heard it. I
Same.
remember how I felt when I heard it, but
Yes.
where did it come from? And I
Yes.
recently heard somebody say that we will not move forward in our society until we can reckon with the fact that there is no us and them, there is only us.
Hmm.
And I was like, I want to feel that way. Like, I want to believe that, but I'm having a real hard time with that. And it's
Perfect
kind of
segue.
stuck with me. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect
Yeah. It's just
segue
kind of
for
stuck with me. So
me
perfect. Yeah.
into understanding my study of Enneagram.
Oh my
Enneagram is a
God.
2,000-year-old system of personality. Homer's Odyssey, that epic, had 9 metaphorical locations. It matches the 9 archetypes of Enneagram. Dante's Inferno visited 7 layers of hell. The 7 different sins that they were combating on those 7 layers match 7 of the 9 emotional vices. All of this to say, what I'm pointing at here, these are ancient truths. This is not a modern day description of your personality. This is where personality comes from. And at some level, it's spiritual and it's existential. And it really does define what you just said. It literally is us, and that's it. There is no them outside of personality.
Mm,
Within it, yes, we have made up allegiances, made up notions. Society and cultural ideas have a lot of made up, we all agree to play the game kind of ideals. And
mm,
so, as long as we continue to play that game, which I participate in it as well, it is I think, a nearly necessary function, unless you're a guru that lives on top of a mountain and learning to float in meditative stance. If you're that, you might be able to step outside. That's never going to be me. So I'm always going to be playing the game at some level. But I firmly agree with it. It's only us. It is only us. You are a human that has a body and has a skin and has an organ that's pumping that allows you to stay conscious. That's everyone in terms of humans. So
okay.
I'm very much there.
So then back it up a second. We said a weird word that some people in my audience have heard for sure. And some people in my audience are like, what the F are they talking about? And that is let me see if I can spell it, Enneagram.
That's right.
Okay. So let's put that up on the screen there. The
I am
Enneagram.
One less
Whoa,
N, but
one
also,
less.
but that's the point. Yes, you spelled it right verbally. So yes,
Verbally, it's just my fingers got a little crazy.
absolutely. And I actually love this better. It's more fun.
Yes. Okay, so what are you talking about? How do you give somebody a primer that doesn't take the whole rest of our conversation?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Because I could talk days in a row about this. It is the most impactful tool for life and for business. The very high level for me, one of the breakthrough ways for me to understand is that in development of being a human, there was a time in which we weren't conscious, present like we are, able to not just be in the present, but also be in the past and be in the future. That is part of what makes us different. And so I'm going to be describing mammals here.
Hmm.
In the mammalian world, there is the body and the body intelligence of instinct. There is the heart, which represents the feeling part of who we are. And there is the mind, the head intelligence. The head intelligence is the most recently developed in terms of evolution. And naturally, our world is going to be more heavily head influenced because that is what makes us so different from other mammals. But we are still animals. And so, A, hear that. B, what Enneagram is describing is that out of head, out of heart, and out of body, one of them is just slightly leaning forward and running the show.
Mm.
And so, case in point for me, I am in Enneagram language, I'm a head type. I am letting my head run the show. I am processing everything through my head, looking at complex sets of ideas, and very into creation, analysis, rationality, and irrationality as well, but just everything of the head. And that's also where that high energy of where I shine is a very head type kind of thing. And so it's not that I don't also feel and I don't
Hmm.
also listen to my body. It's just that that is the one that's the loudest and
Hmm.
leans forward the most. But in Enneagram theory, everyone either leans forward with the head, the heart, or the body more, but they still are human. So they have all of them. It's that slight nuance from which personality comes from. And just so you can also hear this, and so in theory, a third of the people on this planet are body, a third are heart, and a third are head. And so just so you can hear this, head types have that slight advantage because school is a head type game. Therapy is a head type game. Having just intellectual conversation, head type game. So me being a head type, I was a little bit leaning forward and having some advantages and privilege in that way, that's what was being shown to me all the time. Where heart types, they want to be seen and connect. Where body types, just getting out there and moving is going to help, and so that's not how our schooling and culture is built. It's built around head type because it is the most recently developed kind of thing. And so this is just the top layer. There's so much more to unpack, but just so you can hear. And also, by the way, there's a symbol with Enneagram.
Hmm.
Ennea means 9 in Greek, I think, and gram means drawing. And so it's a drawing of the 9 points of the Enneagram that have this complex, too complex to go into, pattern of connection between the different types as a way of understanding and helping you grow kind of thing. But that's a high level way of understanding the 9 different personality archetypes. 3 for head, 3 for heart, 3 for body.
And okay, this is a quick side note. So the side note is that the first time I ever heard of this was way back in my 20s, when I was doing non-equity storefront theater here in Chicago
Yeah.
as an actor. And I had an acting class that I took with a teacher here named Ruthie Landis. And she actually did an acting class where you, using the Enneagram, where you would figure out what your personality type was, you as the actor, and then you would figure out for your character that you're portraying what Enneagram type they were. And then you would make choices and you would be able to relate to your character and you would make choices about their choices based on their personality. It was so like, it was this magical thing that I was like, this is so complicated and useful and beautiful. I loved it
Yes.
so much.
I'm like, I want to know more about your teacher because that's it. That is one of the best tools to get inside the body of someone else
Hmm.
is understanding their type. It blew my mind to understand once I started studying Enneagram to go, wait a minute. That's how they're thinking. That's what's going on in their head. I had no idea. I had no idea that's what was going
Yeah.
on. It blew my mind. And having been a performer myself, that was one of my first thoughts was, man, if I was a theater teacher, I would do Enneagram and have them study this. I think she was onto something because I can now see every person when I'm watching a screen, any character, I'm like, oh, that's a type 9. I can so see it. What a genius, authentic way to show that person up because all personalities are based out of one of these 9 types. And so if you're trying to portray someone that's not you, to grasp what the core emotion is, to
Hmm.
grasp what the inner desires are, what the strong conflicts of what you're avoiding are, to understand what's going on underneath the hood changes all of your angles of, I know their motivations now. So you can show up and act differently. Oh,
It's almost like a way, like as you're describing that, I'm like, I don't know if I would have put it this way before, but it's almost like a way of building empathy with your character,
yes.
of yeah, being able to
Yes.
relate, like, why did they do this or why did they say this? Or, I would never respond to that way. And I'm curious, like, if we take this out of the theater setting and the performance setting, how do you use this in real life with your clients? And how do you, again, without taking the rest of the conversation, how do you figure out which type you are?
Yeah, great question. A couple things I want to say here. Enneagram is often mixed in with all these other personality types.
Mm,
For example, I am an ENFJ. And once I learned that, I was proudly sharing, oh, I'm a Myers-Briggs ENFJ. I'm extroverted. I'm intuitive. I was sharing what I was proudly.
mhm,
What they don't tell you about Enneagram when you begin it, understandably, is that this is your wiring and how you're over coping. I'm going to use the phrase, this is what you're overdoing and it's not good. And so there are strengths to it, but you're overdoing it. And so to wake up to your patterns of why you keep having that facepalm moment over and over and over, I can point to your Enneagram and go, that's why. Look at this pattern. Do you keep seeing that happening? Because a few things here. Another one of my sayings, businesses are energetic replicas of its leader.
ugh,
And if you aren't awake to oh,
sorry.
I saw that reaction. I'm really curious about that. If you don't come awake to what your type is and therefore what your unconscious motivations are, you're going to continually get in your way and not know how to solve it. Once you work with me, the first thing I do, another saying of mine, which I picked up from someone else for sure, sell people what they think they need.
Hmm.
And then once they hire you, give them what they really need. And
Hmm.
so with clients, I'm selling them the listen, which is the truth for me. I can give you an exit strategy if that's what you're wanting, and or I can just make your career so much easier as a business owner because there are best practices out there. That's what I'm selling. When they hire me, the first thing I require, here's an Enneagram test. And the next session, we're just talking about you. Because if you aren't awake to you, and also if you don't get that I get what's going on, then we're able, like we would miss the opportunity where
Mm,
it's like a pattern thing. For example, type 3s are shapeshifters. They're always shifting their personality so they can be successful. And if they're not awake to, I'm a heart type, I just want to connect with people, I just want to be seen, and that's why I'm shapeshifting, then they're going to keep missing the game. They're going to keep missing the whole point. Like that's what's going on. And so I start with personality with everyone. And then I move to what is it that you want in your life outside of work? And then we go on the work journey and talk about everything you need to know about work and life. Life also comes in. And so this is a core part of everything I do. And then I have clients that don't work on business with me. They're in business because who doesn't? Everyone works. But I have two clients right now. We're working on personality way more than business
Yeah.
because again, you're going to be replicating your energy over and over and over if you don't catch that's what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely, as somebody who's been in business and had multiple businesses and been self-employed for I don't even know how long now at this point. Um, it is there's almost no way to like extricate what is my personal life and what is my business life because they're not two separate things.
Literally that.
But,
Literally that. And a business, the gift of a business, especially when you own it, is the ability to create the life you want.
mhm,
And so we want to have a successful business that brings in money because money solves problems. And so as you have the money coming in, you then get the choice to create the company that is supporting everything you want to do. But
mhm,
it's in that order.
mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah, I think for me, part of the problem is that I like to try to take things out of order. I'm like, the money's the
Same.
last part, right? Like we do all the other
Right.
stuff. We do the feel good things, we do the like change the world things, we do the like supporting all the other people. And then, it's like the worst what is the worst like cliche advice? Like follow your passion and the money will follow or like whatever, follow your like that's no. That's I don't think that's true. It's like looks nice on the side of a mug, but
Yes, absolutely. It could be true. That's the thing. If your passion is going to have people line up and buy, then yes, your
hmm
passion will be the way. But
Yeah.
if your passion is something that lots of people share and there's lots of it in this world, you're going to be, for example, a performer in New York where you're not working in your career field because there's a lot of people
That's a
that
lot.
have the same passion as you. And
Yeah.
so it is a numbers game, and you might be lucky. You might be the one. It really is possible, and I really hope for you. And I have had people before that I know and clients of mine that did get very successful from being the best, but it is a lot of work.
And so to take this even a step further, so we took it from acting and performing to business in real life, to put it in this social political moment culture that we're in right now, where specifically for your demographic of clients, there are some unique challenges that are happening at this moment, in that pendulum swing. What what is understanding more about ourselves and our motivations and what we may be overdoing our patterns? How does this relate to this idea of, well, no, I'm going to rephrase this a second. How does this relate to like specific challenges that you're seeing with your clients and the people that you work with now? Like, are the things that they're coming here with, is the context different? Are the problems different? Or is it like same, same, same?
It's different. It is so unique for each person and more predictable based on Enneagram type, which
Okay.
without knowing Enneagram, I would not have been able to see those patterns. And
Mm,
I can see them because of it, where I'm like, oh, my four clients who are type eight, eights are body types. Body types want to move, and challengers is the eight. They want control. They understand control is vitally important to what they do, and they suffer when they lose control, especially when there's this thing called subtype where we take the self-preservation instinct of survival, the sexual one-on-one instinct of survival, and the social tribe group of survival that colors the type, and we call that subtype. So my social, once again, looking at the tribe and community, with type 8, I want to have control. I have one of those clients where it feels entirely out of control because she has same political beliefs as you and I, and she is struggling to quiet the noise outside of her of this social political dynamic right now.
mhm.
And so for her, it is a game of how can we limit those voices so that you can then work on the mindfulness and self care that you need. Because, and she brought this point up to me, even my husband doesn't deal with this. I don't know how he's doing it. He's doing something that I'm not doing. And I'm like, this is that. And I know for me, it's about type and instinct. This is a double whammy for you, client, because that's hard. If you are just by nature tuned into tribe and community, which for Americans means America and fairness and justice, this time and season, especially when you're on this side of the politics, is going to be hard. And my heart goes out. That is just a tumultuous time. Whereas for me, for example, I'm self-preservation dominant and I'm social repressed. And so for my self-preservation, worrying about self, this is not as big of a deal for them, what's going on in society, until it affects them. And right now it's not affecting me. And so it's just not an issue. And so for them, it is more about just the career, just the day to day. And, my field's doing great. Real estate is doing fine right now. So everyone that has different, focuses, it affects people differently. My event photographer, she's doing fine. Like, people are still getting married. There is a fear, like, is it going to change? So far, no. So great. And so it's very individual in that way.
Interesting. I'm like sitting here because every time I've taken an Enneagram test, and I've taken a lot of them because I'm always like, I don't know. I don't know if this one is right. I don't know. I always get like, I'm kind of always there's always three numbers that come up really high for me. So it's always 3, which is what I've always assumed that I was. 8 and 1. 3, 8, and 1 are always like, and I'm like, but I kind of get all of those. Like, when I read them, I'm like, yeah, that could be me. Yeah, that could be me. Yeah, that could be me. And so I'm kind of curious now with thinking about, because I haven't gotten that deep into it. I mostly just like take the test, and then I'm like,
great.
Read
now
the thing.
what?
Sure. Now
Yeah.
what? Yeah. So I'm just kind of curious as to how I figure out which one, like, is it 1? Is it 3? Is it 8?
Yes. Here's a few things on that. One is the quality of tests has gotten better and better and better. And having the subtype, which turns it from 9 types to 27 subtypes, which very lightly, what I just said, it's adding self-preservation to each of the 3 types. I'm sorry, each of the instincts to each of the 3 types. So for a 3, there's a self-preservation 3, a sexual 3, and a social 3. Well, what that creates with each type organically is that one of the combinations is called a counter type. And so they're not, so when they read the standard person who's a type 3, they're like, some of that relates. But then when you get to subtype, and so for example, the counter type of 3 is self-preservation 3, they don't show up like the rest of the 3s. The sexual 3 and social 3 are more outward and look at me and I'm going to perform. And the self-preservation 3, the counter type, pulls in and goes, I just want to take care of myself. I don't need all the name brand things. I don't need to be showy. So when they're reading type 3, they're like, this doesn't relate to me as well. I just give you that example to say, first of all, the assessments that have been out there have not been good, and they're still in process. But the most accurate test I found is the CP Enneagram, which you can find on my website. So that'll probably be the easiest way for people to find it, is leighcambre.com. On my website, I have that link to that test. It's not my test, it's their test. And that is the best getting you to subtype assessment out there. But secondly, when you asked at the beginning, hey, how does someone find out? I can't type you. It's only you that can figure it out. Even when you take this assessment, it accurately says your likely type is, because then you have to confirm it. It's about your inner world. And so if you are reading it and you're nodding most of the time, we found it. But if you're like, because what you just described is everyone's experience in terms of everyone does relate to all types in ways, because no one has the corner on. For example, I'm a 7, the enthusiast, and we tend to be positive. I don't have the corner on positivity. There's lots of types that are often appearing to be positive.
Although
It
I'm
is.
sure I'm
Mhm.
not a 7, Leigh. I'm 100% sure I'm not a 7.
Heard. I believe you. I believe you. You have that clear. Great. Okay, we rule out 7. And actually,
Yeah.
when I do typing tests with people, I rule out one by
Yeah.
one. That's the point. As I go through each one, I'm ruling it out until we get closer. And then it's like, okay, so based on this, let's talk about what's left, and I'll do differentiators. It's good for a human to do typing whenever you do get in the place you are of like, okay, I'm stuck between these three, and then I'll just
Yeah.
ask some questions and go, got it.
Yeah.
This is what I'm hearing. But still, does this relate, this relate, this relate, this, and so we're
Hmm.
still trying to find the one you nod to most. The
Okay.
third thing I'm going to say is the more awake you are, the more you defy type. And what I mean is when you are a kid, your type is on fire
Hmm.
because you need one of these 9 archetypes to survive in this social cultural world as you're growing up. It is a protective tool to allow you to survive. For the type 2s, the helpers, they're giving away their toys so that they will be liked. So that way they can survive by having these social connections. The type 1, the perfectionist, is constantly yelling at themselves, saying, I'm not good enough, and having everything in detail as a way to make sure that nothing is out of place and they can't have perfection. And so there's these tools that are needed. It is as adult that you look at it, and yeah, there's a lot of that coping that did you well. What is not serving you today? So that way you can catch it first, observe that it's happening. So that's why I find type to go, oh, this is all of these things are my personality. Great. As you see it happen, that one keeps getting in the way. So then you can start making new choices, kind of thing. It
Yeah.
does start with identifying it, though.
Yeah. It makes sense. My therapist said to me the other day, I don't even remember what we were talking about. And she was like, I don't believe there's such a thing as a character flaw. Because I was talking
Hmm.
about like somebody's like primary character flaw or something. And what I meant is a repeated pattern, right? But
Right.
in the theater world or in the literary world, as a storyteller, you like imagine it as a character flaw, right? It's
Yes.
like the hubris is their downfall, or
Yes.
whatever it is.
Totally.
It's usually like some moral failing, like a Greek tragedy or whatever. And she's like, yeah, I don't believe in character flaws. I believe that we have patterns that we engage to keep us safe and to cope. And at a certain point, those patterns will let us down and we don't
Uh,
need them anymore. And I was like,
Same thing.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's right. That's
It's
right.
hard for a
And
storyteller to let go of character flaws, though. I'm really attached to them.
I'm with you. Keep them. To me, I'm going. I'm like I get her point. Her point is don't judge it. To me, to
Right.
the way I
Yeah.
receive what she said is
Yeah.
don't judge it. But to
Right.
me, I'm going no. Still call it a character flaw. What we call it an enneagram is your emotional vice. And so my
Mm.
emotional vice is called gluttony.
Hmm.
I, at some level deep down, don't think the world's going to give me what I want. So as a kid, I started grabbing all of these positive things and I kept trying them on metaphorically, and it felt good. I want more of that, whatever that is. I want more of that because it feels good. The world's not going to give me what I want. Gimme, 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 gimme. And I just kept getting all these things. The trap is I'm a human being and I'm going to feel bad sometimes. And I can't escape that. But I did a real good job. It took me until 38 before it started finally crashing for me, where I
Okay.
had to deal with tough emotions. And I was like, no, no. I thought I was gonna, I mean, I was riding my ego and my Enneagram type so well until then. It was so crushing to find out that I'm a human being like everyone else. No, it was hard. And so my character flaw, I would call type 7, gluttony, the enthusiast, all the same thing to me.
Hmm.
And that gave me compassion for everyone else is going, oh, that's what's going on with them. Got it. I had no idea. Shocking.
So, speaking of you, let's talk about you.
Let's do
Um,
that. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Woo!
so for you, I mean, you kind of mentioned how you can see these challenges that people are having, and you can see these fears that are coming up with different people, just depending on their personality type, depending upon all these different things. And for you, you feel like, okay, right now I am okay. right now this is not, I'm not in danger, specifically me. When you hear the word resistance, or when you think about sort of what you're putting out into the world, what does that bring up for you? Like, or do you feel like sometimes I'm like, I feel like I want to be part of the resistance, whatever that means. But then sometimes I feel like I also just want to like lay on the couch and watch a dumb movie and pretend everything is fine. Uh,
Yes.
or go
I'm
sit
like the
on a
latter.
patio and have a cocktail with
Yes.
my friends or something. Like,
Yes.
so
Absolutely.
does it bring up, like, do you feel like you're part of the resistance? How would you define that? Like, what does that bring up for you?
I for me, I do where my strengths are is boundaries. I
Mhm,
am very boundaried. It is core to who I am to be balanced and to have boundaries. And where that shows up for me is self-care. I go out of my way to make sure I take care of me because I love me and I love feeling good. And so that is numero uno for me. As long as I can protect that, then life comes at me and I have capacity to deal with
mhm,
all of these things. And the way for me I see it is that I am not the frontline person. I am the support for frontline people.
mhm.
I am there to help them take care of them so that they can fight harder. Because I don't know how else to say it. It is not my zone of genius to be the frontline person.
Yeah,
I can be a voice out there that represents balance and boundaries and self care and self love and confidence.
yeah.
Absolutely. I teach that. My favorite people to work with are those frontline people who are hugely successful, but not loving their life the way they're wanting it to be. Or in my business world, I do that with my friends, in the business world, it's got to be easier. I'm stressed out. I'm going up and down, and I'm on fire, but this doesn't feel right. And then I teach them, we're finding the middle ground between their disaster experience of what they created and my overdone boundaries and balance. I'm like, nope,
Mhm.
this is the line. I say no. And they're not going to say no to everything, but to say no one
Yeah,
time, breakthrough for them. And so
yeah,
that's a huge part of it. My resistance is supporting those who resist.
yeah. I love that. And also, I want to pick apart self-care because that has become such a, I don't even know, such a almost like a cliche, or like a, oh, self-care, kind of thing, where it
Love
feels
it.
a little soft, a little wishy-washy. Tell me what
Yeah.
that looks like for you.
So the way I describe it, whenever I'm looking at my schedule, so if we break up a week into daytime and nighttime, and
Mhm,
so this is the case in point: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, daytime is for most people work. And so that leaves Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday nights. That's 5 slots. Then Saturday, we'll call it a day slot and night slot, 2 slots. Sunday, day and night, 2 slots. So that's 9 slots total that aren't work. The way
for
I can,
who? I'm
for
sorry, I don't recognize that many non-work slots. I'm just kidding.
fascinating. This is why we're having this conversation. This is perfect. So that, because I absolutely will personalize it to you and I'll be
Yeah,
really curious. I'm like, tell me
yeah.
more about why you work so much. I already have curiosities about who you are
Yeah.
and how you're showing up. And out of these 9 slots, what do you do with them? Now,
Mhm.
for parents, it might be parent. It could be work and parenting. And
Yeah,
especially from the ages of 1 to 3, oh my gosh, that might
yeah,
be or 0 to 3, I should say. That might be what it is in that temporary season of life.
yeah.
If it's not that season, and you're not a caretaker of some other human or animals, then what could you do with those times?
Mm,
And self care to me, and I'm going back to self care and balance, is dedicating 2 of those slots for you and you alone, not us time, which is what I call partner time,
mhm,
not social time, not work, but just you. And my name for it is blob time, where you
mm.
have 2 slots of blob time where you're doing whatever you want without any judgment, without any plans, and you're like letting the moment take you. What is it I want to do right now? Go to the movie, jack off, go talk to someone because I actually have that time and I want to just be spontaneous. Great. At least 2 slots a week of blob time. That to me is what self care looks like structurally, I'm less concerned about what is happening in it. I'm
Mm,
more concerned about you honoring you and your existence
mm.
twice a week.
I am often writing down phrases that pop out as I'm having these conversations as like potential title ideas. Like it's just something that I do whenever I'm recording episodes. And I was like, do I put blob time in the title of this episode? That sounds so unserious.
Love it. Even better. I live for the unserious. I'm like, it is just I so to me, that's another one of my joys. Talk about self-care. I love to feel good. I am leveraging on what tickles me in my life. And so what tickles me is what me, A, knowing what feels good to me, and B, curating experiences in my life so that I get more of that. So I'm like, blot for me, blot time makes me giggle. So I'm like, yes, put it in the title.
Yeah, something that I particularly love and enjoy in my life that tickles me is also alliteration, being the literary person. So I'm like, oh, balance, boundaries, and blob time. Title done.
Yes, I love that. Oh my God, that's so good. Adding that to my book title.
Totally. Totally. It should at
Yes,
least be a chapter in the foreword, something, subtitle.
absolutely. Oh my God. My company is called Flashes of Brilliance. And so I'm like, ooh, brilliance. Got another B there. I got to
Yeah,
play with
okay.
this. Oh,
We're on the alliteration train.
yes. I'll ride that all the way to the book title. Done. New podcast.
So, Leigh, type 7, Mr. Positivity, Mr. Enthusiastic, Mr. Lightening the load for everybody on social media. Uh,
Yes.
does it ever get hard for you? And what do you do when like, do you ever feel the weight? What happens? What do you do? How do you coach yourself through that?
So this is one of those things I'm going to tell you everything I do, but it's not perfect. It is the part I overdo. So I just want
Mhm.
to add that asterisk of I'm not living this like this is that part where I'm like, Instagram is perfect and TikTok is reality. I want to pull the curtain and say the reality is what I'm about to describe and what I just described in the last little segment there is how I am. Yeah, I love.
How
I'd
did that
never
just
turn off
happen?
the little pop-ups because in my computer, if I do different like
Oh,
what do you call it? Face
gestures?
gestures exactly, then there will be there we go, there will be different like experiences that happen, and I could turn it off but I will never because it's so fun.
I didn't know that StreamYard would pick that up. I thought that was like a FaceTime, Zoom, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, continue.
Surprise.
Sorry, I'm distracted.
All good. Hey, again, I love that. So what I'm describing for that last segment and now are things on how I overcope, but the whole point of Enneagram as well, I'm overcoping in this. I need to learn what everyone else is doing. So anyone who's not a 7 can pick up from this and go, oh, I could use that tool. One of my tools is called rationalization. I will rationalize a pain away so I don't feel it.
Hmm.
I overdo it. That's not great, but it's probably better for everyone that's not a 7 to consider using that as a tool because dopamine helps you. I mean, there's just so many benefits to the physical chemicals that when you're feeling good as they come out and allow you to feel better, allow you to get in flow, allow you to be creative. And if you don't use these tools, you'll be stuck in that negative place that then you're ruminating and your mind's getting the best of you. So whenever I'm having tough times, I instinctively and naturally ask myself the questions like, what is the opportunity here?
Hmm.
Instead of focusing on the problem, what could go better? What is it that I need to change so that I can have a better result? Out of the actions I could take, is there one that I could, with courage, bulldoze through so that I can get to the better result quicker and still live within my morals because I know what feels good to me? And
Mhm.
again, I'll go back to rationalization. If it doesn't feel good, I'll rationalize the reason why. I'll be like, well, actually, the reason he's mad at me is because he's jealous, and that's not necessarily true, but like it'll allow me to move forward and to then serve others again. And so these tools of taking care of my psyche
Mhm.
allow me to withstand a lot of capacity
Mhm. And that makes
or
sense.
impact.
Yeah, and that makes sense, being as you've sort of divined your role as being the support person. The
Yes,
people who are taking
exactly.
the primary impact on the front line need that support person to have the capacity to be able to offer that support, so that that all ties together. It makes perfect sense.
Right.
Huh. Interesting. I love it.
Something's coming up. What was that? I
No,
sense some.
I'm so impressed at how I think in my notes to you I had said, what did it say? Um, oh, I don't know if I put it in the notes, but I was like, okay, I'd love to see how the Enneagram ties into this theme. And I'm like, oh, you've kind of blown my mind in the past 50 minutes.
It has continued to blow my mind. I am officially certified from the CP Enneagram Academy, and I'm probably at 20% because it is purposefully
Yeah.
incredibly comprehensive and hard to understand. I would say my teachers who have been studying this for 30 to 40 years are at 75%, maybe.
Yeah.
That might be high. It's intentionally complex. And again, the word I want to say again is comprehensive. And so, just one case in point, attachment theory. Have you heard of this? Are you
Yeah.
familiar with
Yeah. Yeah.
attachment theory?
Yeah.
The idea of people who are avoidant and people who are anxious and people who are secure, you can place within the Enneagram. It's just finding out where. And so type fives are very likely going to be anxious. Avoidant. They're likely going to be avoidant attached because type fives cope in this world. They had the experience of there's not enough energy. And so I need to pull in. I'm not going to be as social. I can be social for a little bit, but then my social battery is drained. And that naturally ties in with, oh, we have this thing called avoidant. And so it's this vague thing. But when I look at
Yeah.
it Enneagram wise, I'm like, well, you're kind of describing many things when you say avoidant. What do you really mean underneath that? Everything, and I mean everything that comes up in life can be described through the Enneagram. That's what's so what about that thing that blows my mind.
I think that's why I think that's why it's been fascinating to me for so long, because like I love any give me any personality test, like any like what's your motivations, what are your primary values, what are your this, what are your that, like I think they're all fun, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, and then I forget about it within like a week. I'm like all about
Totally.
it, and this is like the one that just keeps coming back, and I think it is that complexity. I like things that have a lot of layers to sort of uncover. So
Yeah.
yep. I think that's why I keep coming back to it over and over
Yes.
again. Every time somebody mentions it, I'm like, ooh, let me learn more.
Yes. Yes. Here is the pathway I will suggest because what you're saying, I've heard many times before and I get it.
Hmm.
Oh, I've heard about it. The point of you finding your type. So, first of all, and I will say subtype, find your subtype. That's just the beginning.
Hmm.
Find your subtype and then catch all of the patterns that you're doing. Catch them all. Note them. That will take months and years for you to see them all in practice. Once you've identified it and start to catch you doing it, what you're doing is giving yourself secret powers so that you
Hmm.
can overcome what's going on. And I'll just give you one example for me. As a head type, one of my 7 things is I want things to feel good all the time. And owning a business, sometimes it's hard and you have to make decisions and move. Guess what? Body types, that's their thing. They're kind of counter to that. They will make quick moves. They will move before thinking. Whereas head types are going to think all day and forever if they can, kind of thing, to avoid making the move.
Hmm.
And so I, having caught that over and over of like, oh, I'm thinking again. Oh, I'm thinking again. Oh, I'm thinking again. 3 years into Enneagram, I was like, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna choose something differently. I'm gonna take action. I'm going to make a choice and move because I want the result of what this company is going to give me. So I started taking action. And it was the answer. It's exactly what I needed to do. Stop analyzing and moving allowed me to collect the data. And it's still not as fast as a body type would do it. So it's reasoned and still thoughtful thinking, but at least now I'm collecting data and making money in the meantime. It
Hmm.
was a huge change. And then step 3, the last piece here that I will offer is that you've started working on yourself here. It's then to then really intimately learn the other 8 types, and say it again, other 26 subtypes, so that you can start to see what's happening with other people. Because as you know what's going on with them, you're going to suddenly change everything of how you show up for them. Oh, a type 9 is a peacemaker, and they're others oriented. On the scale of self-referential to other referential, I am the most self-referential there is. I just assume that's how everyone exists, that
Mhm.
everyone knows what's going on with themselves, because that's my experience. Nines are constantly checking with others, and their body is giving them an instinct of, like, for example, hey, where do you want to go eat? And they don't love Chinese food. And so they could say anything but Chinese, but instead of them answering the question of anything but Chinese, they'll go, I don't mind. What do you want? Because what they're saying to themselves is, okay, if I say something that they like, if I say not Chinese and they say Chinese, I'll create conflict. And so I'll just go with it. And then they never listen to themselves. And that's just one tiny example. And so that for me to learn that blew my mind, like blew my mind emoji right here. I'm just like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
That's a personality. Like, people are actually exist. These people who are out there and they're like fully formed humans there are type 9s out there. What? Blew my mind. Oh,
Yeah, the two things that I love about that example are that piece of being able to see your own patterns and not suffer because of them, but to be able to make a different choice, to be able to say, oh, this is what I would normally do, or this is what I get stuck doing all the time. Let me try something else that is counterintuitive to how I would normally respond in this, and see what happens. And then the other part is the like understanding. I mean, how many times are you in a situation where somebody is saying a thing or doing a thing or behaving in a way or making a choice that you're like, I have no idea what is going on in that person's head right now. And because it's just not the way that you would process anything.
right. Right. The mysteries of life with other
Yeah.
people suddenly start having answers to.
Yeah.
You start going, it's because they're so focused on everyone else helping them. They expect them to be helped the same way, as opposed to, why does he think I'm a mind reader? Fuck her for that. It's like you suddenly have an answer, and you start having so much more compassion,
Yeah.
which allows you to go from us versus them to us. Oh, look at that circle back. Look at that callback I did to the
That was
first
good.
idea. It is that kind of mind blowing situation. What is happening with all of us is all of us are metaphorically in a house, and all of us have one room that is unexplored. It's off limits, and it's different for every person, even if we have similar house layouts. The journey of Enneagram is opening the door to that room. When you open it, it's dark, it's not lit up, there's cobwebs everywhere, and you don't like how it's designed, where you can't even see what's going on. Then you start walking in, and it is existentially scary to walk in that room. Then you finally shine a light in there, and you're like, okay, I've shone a light in there. I can do this. And then you turn on the lights. Okay. And then you clean up the cobwebs, and you start rearranging the furniture, and then you start getting comfortable with that room. And that is a breakthrough, months and 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 months long experience to do that, because that's your hidden room. And when I tell you it's your hidden room, I mean, nearly everyone else is going, oh, that's your issue? That's not my issue. I've been in that. My room has been designed. I like had IKEA in there, and I took it out, and I had a West Elm. I didn't like that anymore. And I got a new set of furniture, like they're like hanging photos in there, changing the lighting. And you're like, I'm scared to go in. It's that.
Yeah. That is a beautiful place for us to wrap up. And now I'm thinking about IKEA. Thanks. Um, I feel that IKEA is, I haven't been to IKEA in a while, and I always feel calmer and more like just they're little rooms that you go in, and everything is perfectly arranged, and I'm like, I could live in this room. This room is like perfect as it is. Of course, it doesn't have any of your stuff in it, but and that's why it's
Yet.
perfectly arranged. But yeah, I think maybe when things are feeling overwhelming, maybe that'll be my new coping strategy, is to just go to IKEA and exist in those perfect little rooms there.
Yes, I love a good aesthetic eye. It makes all the difference when you're like, it feels good. It's just pleasing. I love
Yes.
that.
Oh, okay. So, everyone, I would like you to please visit Leigh's website. That's leighambre.com. For those who are listening to the audio version in the future at some point in time, that will be linked, of course, in the show notes in the episode description in your app. And it's on the screen for those of you who are watching the video version right now. And also, it's also Leigh Cambre on Instagram. Easy, easy. I recommending. Whoa. We're getting to the end. It always starts to happen where my language skills go at a certain point. I'm like, language skills done.
Oh, good, even
I
better. It's real, y'all. This
recommend
is
this
authentic,
is
so perfect.
live stream. This
Yes.
is real. I recommend getting on Leigh's newsletter if you like things that you have heard today. I recommend following on Instagram. And of course, the Creativity and Media as Resistance series continues. You can find the playlist on YouTube of all of our past live streams and any upcoming ones that are scheduled. And at, on the screen, bit.ly told you language. bit.ly/creativity as resistance takes you to the YouTube channel. And of course, if you're an audio person, if you like things to be a little bit more meticulous, if you're a type 1 or a type 8, probably you'll prefer to listen to the edited version in audio. And those come out in the Creative Imposter podcast feed on your favorite podcast app. Leigh, as I am saying all the promotional end of episode boring things, is there anything coming to your mind that you feel like you want to leave our listeners with? Anything that you didn't get to say that's bubbling up to the surface?
Two things. One, I'm going to speak to all of the business owners out there first. If you're LGBTQ or a women business owner, please reach out. Let's connect. There is a better way to do what you're doing, no matter where you are, because, and this is the part that applies to everyone, everyone's personality has pieces that is not going to serve the life that they want. And so just to understand and start that Enneagram journey, whether you're a business owner in my ideal niche or not, there are better ways to show up for yourself, your life, your dreams, and your visions. And the more you get to know yourself and your patterns, the more you'll be able to step out of them in a very impactful way. And so I help people, the business owners, with best practices, not just in business, so that you can repeat the patterns and systems, but for all the normal humans out there, we also have these same kinds of patterns in life. They're all overcomable, and you can too. It takes work, but you can too. And it starts, for me, I highly recommend, with Enneagram. So get that Enneagram test off of my site, start there. And you don't even have to get it off my site. There's other ones, but this is the best one. It's worth the journey is what I'll say. Worth it.
Awesome. Was that two things? I think you said two things.
I did. Absolutely, I did too. Uh-oh.
That's
Sorry.
fine.
Do we need to re-record the whole thing? Let's start over.
Let's start
I'll do
over
a second
again.
one.
Okay.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Creative Imposter, Creativity and Media as
Deal.
Resistance. Okay, no, we're not doing that.
Part 2. Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. There could always be a part 2. I'm open.
Perfect.
All right. Awesome.
Anytime you want.
Thank you, Leigh. Don't go
Thank
anywhere,
you.
but I am going to end the stream real quick.
Awesome.